All right, here's our first quiz of this chapter. All right, 5152. I've told you so many times, I'm tired of saying it. What do you think the first thing I'm going to talk about is? Yes. You got it. I reviewed this so many times with you guys. If you don't get this, you should just, I don't know what you should do. All right, here's what I'm going to ask you. I'm not going to write down the exact wording, but I will read it off to you. Okay, it starts off saying, name the point of concurrency determined by, okay, everybody hear me on that? Name the point of concurrency determined by, and then you got 4 different things, all right? So we'll just go in order the way that we learned them, okay? I switched the order up a little bit on the quiz and on the test as well, okay? So don't just memorize it in order, all right? But make sure you know what word goes with what. So the first one's perpendicular bisector. Write it down if you have not written this down before. Perpendicular what? Bisector. All right, so again, here's the question. Name the point of concurrency determined by the perpendicular bisector of a triangle. It's the circumcenter. That's your answer right there. Circumcenter. Okay, so perpendicular bisector goes with circumcenter. You just got to know that. What are you writing on the quiz? Are you writing perpendicular bisector? No, I write perpendicular bisector. You write what? Circumcenter. Okay. Could I be any more plain and clear about this? I don't think so. I'm trying to be as plain as I possibly can. All right, what was the second one we did? We did perpendicular bisector, and then we did altitudes. Okay? So, again, the question's going to say this. Name the point of concurrency determined by the triangle's altitudes. All right? So, altitude goes with what? Orthocenter. And that's your answer. Again, it's probably not going to be in this order. All right? I'm going to mix up the order a little bit so you don't just memorize circumcenter, orthocenter, boom, boom, boom. Okay? But you got to know what it goes with. That's what I'm concerned about. That you know the circumcenter goes with perpendicular bisector. You know orthocenter goes with altitude. What was the third one that we did? Angle bisector. Very good. Okay? So, the question on the test, or the quiz, I'm going to say, this is exactly what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, name the point of concurrency determined by the triangle's what? Angle bisector. All right? So, what do I find when I find the angle bisector? What is that? The angle bisector? It's in center. Okay. And then number 4. Name the point of concurrency determined by the median. Correct. Determined by the median. And what goes with that? Centroid. That's the last one that we just did. Okay? And I think I have a homework to collect today too, don't I? All right, so after we go over this, we'll go over the homework as well. All right, so I'm telling you, it's the first 4 questions on the quiz. Everybody see this? Look. First 4 right there. Boom. You got it? Did you memorize it? Okay. All right, here we go. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you what these problems look like. I'm going to put different numbers in there than what's on the quiz, all right? So the ones on the quiz are not exactly the same numbers, but the style of problem is the same. Let's do this. Let's draw a triangle. And I'm going to go up here to there. And then I'm going to go from here to here. Okay? And I'm going to draw one perpendicular to there. Okay? And let's see, what else do I tell you? I tell you that this and this are equal to each other. This is 5 and 6. So this is 5 and 6. And I'm going to give you a length of this side. I don't know, somebody just give me a good length. Don't give me anything crazy, but just give me a decent number for this. 10? Okay. And then what do you think this angle is right here? Just, again, take an educated guess. What do you think that probably is? 60? All right, that's pretty close. Looks pretty close to 60 degrees. And I am going to ask you to find, let's put some letters in here, A, B, C. And I'm going to ask you, so number 5, I might ask you what BC is equal to. And then number 6, I might ask you what angle A is equal to. All right? This is super easy. Super easy. Everybody should get this, except for the ones that are talking right now while I'm trying to teach. Maybe you won't get them, but everybody else should get them that are paying attention. All right? So BC. So right here, this is a perpendicular bisector, isn't it? Do you remember we talked about that? Any point along the perpendicular bisector is equidistant from these two vertices. So point B is on the perpendicular bisector, isn't it? So from here to here is 10. What is it from B to C? That's also 10 as well. Without any math at all, you don't have to show your work. You know how I've been harping lately on showing your work. There's no work to show on that one, all right? You just look at this. That's 10. That's 10. What about angle A? What about this right here? By the way, these are two congruent triangles. Do you see that? I've got a side, I've got an angle, and I've got a side. Or it's a right angle. I've got two legs, leg, leg. Do you remember that from the last test? Okay, so these two triangles are congruent to each other. So if this is 60 degrees, if I took those triangles and I folded them, boom, like that, what would match up with angle C? Angle A would match up with that. So angle A would be what? 60 degrees. All right, so angle A is 60 degrees. Super easy. There's no reason in the world why anybody should get that wrong on the quiz. Do you agree with that? Yeah. I mean, that's just really easy stuff. Now, the next one, it's a little bit more involved. So let's talk about that one. This is the last thing that we actually did. This has to deal with a centroid. So this would be 7, correct. Let me draw the triangle and I'll put the 7 there. All right, so there's a triangle. It says point D is the centroid. How do I find the centroid? Do you remember? Centroid? Median, that's right. So that means, watch, that means I got to find the what? The midpoint, right? So there's a midpoint right there. There's a midpoint right there. And then there's a midpoint right there. All right. Oops. I forgot to click off of that. Let's try that one more time. There we go. All right. So there's your midpoints. I'm going to draw this in a different color. Obviously on the quiz, it's not going to be in different colors. But that would be a median, correct? Right? Because I'm going from a vertex to a midpoint. Let's go from this vertex to that midpoint. Let's go from this vertex to this midpoint. Well, I didn't draw it perfect, but they should all do what? Meet right there. We'll make that dot big enough and it looks like they meet right there. Okay? So what is this point called? This is the what? The centroid. Now, we learned something about the centroid. Let's put some letters in here. It says point D is the centroid. It says find BD. There's B. If BR is 24, and that's R. Okay, so forget the other ones. Just look at this BR right there. So here's what they're going to tell you. They're going to tell you to find, it's right here, find BD. Now, I'm going to put a different number in here, but the letters are exactly the same on the quiz. Find BD if BR is, let's say 30. All right, let's think about this. Let's look at it. Let's don't just look at this and just say, oh, let's just double it. Okay, we don't want to do that. All right, just watch. So BR is 30. So this whole entire thing from here to here is what? 30. Zion, you got it right, but how'd you get it? You said 10. Why'd you say?
I divided 30 by 3.
It's actually not 10. You just found what?
DR.
You found DR. But what do they ask for? BD. That's right. So watch. Everybody look here. They told you the whole entire thing, and that's what I'm going to tell you on the quiz. I'm going to tell you the whole entire line segment, all right? You got to find BD. Do you need to leave? Thought you said things were going to change. So look, BR is 30. What you can find very, very easily is the shorter of the two segments. Which one is the shorter of the two segments? That one right there, the one that goes to the midpoint. Okay, this is the longer one right there, BD. Everybody got that? So how do you find the shorter one if you know the whole entire thing? Divided by 3, that's right. Okay, DR, the shorter one, is 1/3 of the whole thing. If it's 1/3, that means you divide by 3. So 30 divided by 3 is 10. Okay, but that's not what they ask for. What do they ask for? BD. So they're asking for here, from here to here. Well, you know the whole thing is 30, right? And this is 10. How can you find this one? Okay, you could multiply this by 2 and get what? 20. Or you could go what? 30 minus 10, which is also 20. Either way you look at it, it still works out. So what's your answer to this? So BD is equal to 20. What do you think? It's not too hard, is it? That might be the only real math you have to do. Well, yeah, I think it is. That's like the only math you have to do on this whole entire quiz. All the rest you can just look at and tell me what the answer is. All right? So this is the only time you're going to have to do some math, so make sure you understand that. All right, I think I explained that pretty well. If you weren't paying attention, you could always go back on the video and look at it. All right, so that was, what did I say it was? Number 7. So that was 7. Okay, let's do number 8. Got to draw a picture. So give me a second to draw the picture. You should be drawing it too. All right, so you should still be paying attention. Now, they have some point of intersections, and they say point P is the incenter. The incenter. How did you find the incenter? Look at that list. The angle bisector, that's right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bisect all 3 angles. Now, on this one, I'm going to have to eyeball it a little bit. Okay, it's hard to tell exactly if I bisected it, but there you go. See what I'm doing? I'm looking right here. I'm looking at this little bit and this little bit. Do they look the same? Yeah, pretty close. Well, let's see. Okay, I'm trying to bisect this angle. That may not be just right. That's pretty close right there. And now I'm going to bisect this angle. And I know it should intersect those other 2. So I know exactly where to draw that one. All right, so what did I just do? I just bisected those angles. And what did it form? It formed the what? The angle bisector forms the incenter. Okay, so the angle bisectors form the incenter. Now, here's the key to this. We haven't talked about this yet today. We have talked about it, but not today. Do you remember what's special about the incenter? It's equidistant to what? To the sides. Very good. Equidistant to the sides. So how do I find the distance from that point to the side? It's the what distance? It's the perpendicular distance, okay? So if I wanted to go from this point to this side, if I said, what's the length? What's the distance from this point to this side? Where would I draw it? I would draw it perpendicular to it. What's the distance from this point to this side over here? Is it here? Is it here? Is it here? Where is it? It's what? It's perpendicular. Okay? And then one more. What's the distance from this point to this side right here? It's perpendicular. Everybody got it? That's what we're saying about this. Ben, in the hallway, please. Can't deal with it. I've warned you a million times. You just cannot control yourself. So watch the video, but sit in the hallway. Go. So what's true about all three of these yellow lines? They're equidistant. They're the same, okay? So guess what I'm going to give you? I'm going to give you the length of one of these lines. It says, I'll write the question. So, and I don't have any letters on here. I should put some letters. That's R. That's P. P is that in-center point right there. This is S. Yeah, that's S where it meets, and that's T right there. And I think that's everything you need. Yep. All right, so it says, find RP, that length right there, if PS, give me a length. 4? Okay, so PS is 4. So this is what they tell you. They said, if PS is 4, this one right here, what is RP? Yeah, like I said, really, really simple, okay? No math involved. You just look at it and you figure out what the answer is, okay? So if this yellow one is 4, then what is RP? It's 4. They could have asked you for TP. What would TP be equal to? That would also be 4, okay? They could have asked you that. Super, super easy. Agreed? The thing that you have to know is that those three things are equal to each other. Now, again, on the quiz, I don't color code them, all right? But I think I do put, I'm looking at it, okay? I put dotted lines to show those yellow ones, okay? Instead of making them a different color, I make them dotted just to make them stand out a little bit, all right? So you'll see those as dotted lines. So all three of those yellow ones are going to be equal to each other. Make sense? I hope so. I hope so. That was what? Number what? 8? All right. 2 more. 9 and 10, they all deal with the same picture. Both of these do. So let's draw the picture. You may. All right. So this kind of looks like this. And they say that point P is the circumcenter. So you're going to have some things that are, they meet, right? You got 3 lines in there that meet each other, and they meet at the circumcenter. The circumcenter is the very first one that we talked about. So how do we find the circumcenter? This is 9 and 10. They both deal with this picture. How did you find the circumcenter? Do you remember? It was the very first one that we did. Perpendicular bisectors, that's right. So what do we got to find? We got to find the midpoints, correct? So let's do that again. And then it's about right there. And then this midpoint is about right there. Okay. So now, in red, let's draw the perpendicular bisectors. So how do we do that? Start at the midpoint and you make a perpendicular line. And we're going to do that with all 3 of those sides. Okay, we'll make a perpendicular line right there. And now what are we going to do? And this is all drawn for you, obviously, on the quiz. But I just want you to know. So now we make a perpendicular. See right here? I'm trying to make that perpendicular. Does that look like a right angle? No? Yeah. That looks like a right angle, doesn't it? Right here? Yeah, pretty close. And then we got one more to do from here to here. And you know it's going to go through the intersection of those points, and that's a right angle as well, isn't it? So what did I just draw? 3 what? Perpendicular bisectors. That's right, okay? They bisect because they hit the midpoint. They're perpendicular because they hit the other side at a right angle, 90-degree angle. Say what? No, the red lines are not necessarily equal to each other. The white ones? No, it's just the white lines are just the sides of the triangle. They could be any lengths, okay? It doesn't have to be equal or anything. So nothing right here is equal except for these right angles, okay? Now, these sides, see this that's a midpoint, so that little segment and that segment are equal to each other, so that's true. But what is this point now? I drew the perpendicular bisector, so what is that point? This is the what? Circumcenter. Good. Now, we haven't talked about this yet today, but we have talked about it in the past. What is special? What's unique about the circumcenter? It's equidistant from the vertices. Very good. All right, Malik's paying attention. All right, so from here to here is from the vertex to the circumcenter. From there to there is, and then from here to here is. So what's true about all 3 of those yellow lines right there? They're equal to each other. Exactly right. Okay? And you also know, remember, this is a midpoint, correct? So this little segment here and this little segment here are equal to each other as well. All right? To keep that in mind. So let's put some letters in here. A, B, C, A, B, C, X, Y, Z. That's X, that's Y, this is Z, and in the middle is P. Let's put it here where I can see it. There you go. All right, so the circumcenter we're going to call point P. All right, here's the question that they ask. They tell you that P is a circumcenter, and it says find PB if PA is equal to something. Give me a length. Not a crazy length. Give me a normal everyday length. 6? Okay. PA is 6. All right, everybody watching? So PA is 6. So what I'm going to do is come over here on my picture. From P to A is 6. Again, this is another very easy problem to do. It was way harder to draw this thing than it was to actually solve it. But you don't have to draw it. It's already drawn for you on the quiz, okay? So all you got to do is look at it and stick the number in. So if I were you taking the quiz, this is exactly what I would do right now. It says PA is 6. So I come over here, I look at my picture, there's P, there's A, I put a 6 right there. That's exactly what I would do if I were you on this quiz. Everybody can do that, right? All right. And it says find PB. Well, look at PB. That goes from the circumcenter to the vertex. What was true about all 3 of those yellow lines? They're equal, so that's got to be 6. I could have also asked you what? P what? PC. What would PC be equal to? That would also be equal to 6. Okay, I'm only going to ask you one of them. So what's PB? It's equal to 6. We good? Super, super easy. Like I said, you only have to do math on one of these problems. All right, and they ask you for one more thing. They say AY. They tell you that AY, no, it says find AY. Find AY if AC, give me an even number. Like if this is 6, what do you think this length is right there? 12? Let's do a different number than 12 because I don't want them to all be the same. 14? Okay. So let's say if AC is 14. So what are they telling you? They're telling you this whole thing right there is 14. You with me? What do they ask for? Find AY. So AY is from here to here. What is it? Now, you do have to do math on this, okay? So it's not just looking at it. But if they tell you the whole thing, then this from A to Y, this is the midpoint, right? So that means it's half of the whole thing. So this would be what? 7. So you do have to do a little bit more math. But really, dividing by 2, It almost doesn't even count, does it, for doing math? Right? And that would be 7 as well if they asked for that. You good? What if they asked for this? What if they told you, just making up a number, what if they said that AY was 8, but they wanted you to find AC? Find AC if AY is 8. 16, right, because the whole thing is twice as big as half of it. Agreed? So that would be 16 if AY was 8. And that's really all they can ask. I mean, there's not much more. There's no like solving for X, okay? You don't have to do anything like that. It's really, really simple. I made this way too easy, didn't I? You think this weekend I should revise it, make it a little tougher? Okay. I wasn't going to do that anyway. So there you go. So your quiz is on Monday. This is what it covers. This is 9 and 10. I didn't write that on there. This is numbers 9 and 10. And I'm looking for good grades on this. Okay? I mean, there's no reason why anybody should get a bad grade on this. Everybody. I mean, you might make a mistake here and there. But really, if you study this, you shouldn't make any mistakes. You should get this whole thing right. I'm looking for a lot of 20 out of 20s. Who thinks they can do it? All right, good. I expect it. Okay, enough of that. We got a few minutes. Maybe I'll show you a quick video or something before we get out of here because I do not want to just give you 10 minutes to do nothing.